Breaking news, a new motion has been filed in response to Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan's request to dismiss the federal case against her.
And after reading through the 25-page motion, federal prosecutors say Dugan is not above the law. The indictment against Dugan alleges she helped an undocumented man who was wanted on a federal warrant avoid arrest by ICE agents. In Dugan's motion for dismissal, she asked the court to dismiss the indictment based on judicial immunity. However, today, federal prosecutors came back saying her request was unprecedented and, quote, would in essence say that judges are above the law.
Let's get at it, people. This is going to be a very interesting story because as we're watching America, really, I feel like descend into chaos because we're under the judgment of God. As we descend into chaos, we're looking at our judges being unjust. We're looking at our judges making poor decisions. And this is becoming pretty problematic. So let's bring this in. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
Find them, and we've got to find them fast. Come on, let's go. I'm looking.
Nothing here.
I want them found now.
Come on, we're gonna go this way.
I'm looking everywhere. Where are they? There. No. There. No. No. It's impossible.
It sounds like a scene straight out of the new Mission Impossible movie, except this happened in real life inside a Milwaukee courthouse. Newly released surveillance video appears to show a sitting judge, Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan, not only confronting federal immigration agents, but helping an undocumented immigrant slip out of the courthouse through a private exit. It all unfolded April 18th as federal agents with ICE and other agencies waited to arrest 33-year-old Eduardo Flores Ruiz, who was appearing before Judge Dugan on domestic abuse and battery charges. According to a federal affidavit, Dugan left the bench mid-hearing after learning ICE was waiting in the hallway with an immigration arrest warrant. Courthouse cameras show her, along with another judge, approaching the agents in the hallway and confronting them. Witnesses say she was angry and demanded to know why they were there. She allegedly told the agents they needed a judicial warrant and directed them to the chief judge's office. But what happened next is what federal prosecutors are calling obstruction of justice.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a hot second because there's a lot of people, the due process crowd, a lot of people saying he wasn't given due process. Okay, I understand. You do realize that they were going to arrest him. They weren't going to deport him. So he was going to get his due process. So this is not a matter of she was just trying to make sure he got his due process. No, he was going to get arrested. He was getting arrested because he was a gnarly dude, hence why he was in her courtroom for DV. This is crazy. But watch this.
The video then shows Dugan returning to her courtroom where, according to the complaint, Judge Dugan commanded Flores Ruiz and his attorney to leave through a back door of the courtroom. The FBI affidavit notes that this door is normally restricted to deputies, jurors, court staff, or in-custody defendants under escort. Courthouse surveillance follows Flores Ruiz through a hallway where a plainclothes ICE agent follows them. The camera then shows Flores Ruiz and his attorney exiting the courthouse onto the street. As they emerge, Flores Ruiz is seen suddenly taking off, sprinting down the sidewalk. Wow. The ICE agent chases and tackles him about a block away, where an arrest is made. Federal agents say they were in a public hallway, ready to execute a valid immigration warrant, and that Judge Dugan directly interfered. On May 13th, a federal grand jury indicted Judge Dugan on charges of obstruction of justice and concealing an individual to prevent arrest. She was taken into custody the following week and pleaded not guilty on May 15th. Her defense team has filed a motion to dismiss, claiming her actions are protected by judicial immunity. The case has reignited tensions between local jurisdictions and federal authorities over cooperation with immigration enforcement. While local officials have largely remained silent, the White House has seized on the incident as a high-profile example of interference with federal immigration law.
Let's be clear about what this judge did. She obstructed federal law enforcement who were looking for an illegal alien in her courthouse. She showed that illegal alien the door to evade law enforcement officials.
If convicted, Judge Dugan could face up to 6 years in federal prison.
Wow.
A Massachusetts judge is back in court today facing possible punishment after a twice deported illegal immigrant was allowed to slip out of her courthouse, evading federal immigration agents who were waiting there. This is about Judge Shelley Joseph. She was sworn in 2017, so she's a fairly young judge, inexperienced judge when this all occurs. She's accused of helping an illegal immigrant evade ICE who was there at her courthouse in April of 2018. 2019, she's indicted on federal charges. This is the first Trump administration. Those charges are dropped during the Biden era in 2022.
Wait, so she did this. I didn't realize it. She hadn't even been a judge for barely 6 months. And she done already got in trouble. I wonder what she had been doing as an attorney or whatever role she had before she became a judge. This is crazy.
With an agreement that she refers herself essentially to this Judicial Conduct Commission, which she did. That commission decided to take this forward. There is now a hearing underway that could ultimately lead to her losing her job, her judgeship.
Wow.
We all want judges who are jurists, not activists. And you have to, employ the law and impose the law, whether you like it or you don't. And so I think the problem with this process taking so long is that we need resolution, and we need judges who are going to sit on the bench and just tell us what the law is, whether they like it or not.
We expect integrity, we expect transparency, and we expect judges that have no skin in the game. And when you have someone like this judge who apparently is going off the record and perhaps then, we don't know, but perhaps then conspiring to have this person walk out the back door, that's really going to question the system itself.
They're going after judges. Can you believe it? This story is out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's where a judge named Hannah Dugan was on the bench until she was arrested. Why was she arrested? Well, the FBI and the DOJ were waiting outside for a man who is in some sort of a pretrial hearing. Who is the man? His name is Eduardo Flores Ruiz, faces 3 counts of misdemeanor battery with domestic abuse modifiers stemming from an incident on March 12th of this year in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The charges are related to a domestic dispute where he allegedly attacked 3 individuals, including striking his roommate approximately 30 times, hitting the roommate's girlfriend, and injuring a third person, attempting to intervene. Additionally, as an undocumented Mexican national, he's subject to federal immigration charges for illegally re-entering the United States after a prior deportation in 2023. Keep in mind, because of 8 U.S.C. 1326, that would be a felony. The allegation is Judge Hannah Dugan helped him go through the jury room and try to sneak away from the alphabet agencies that were there to arrest him for being in the country illegally and re-entering illegally. Here's the story from WISN. FBI arrests Milwaukee judge for obstructing immigration arrest at courthouse. Federal agents arrested Judge Dugan for allegedly interfering with the detention of an undocumented migrant, prompting an investigation into judicial conduct. So are they going after judges? I guess ones they say broke the law. I wonder, do you think a judge is above the law? Do you think that a judge can do anything he or she wants? Maybe drive drunk? Maybe harm somebody? Maybe rob somebody? Maybe commit a felony of some sort? Or are they people like you and me? If they break the law, they face the music.
We're having a very hard time with judges because they don't want people to be moved out of the country. Shockingly, nobody's ever had this before, no other president. There's never been a time when this has ever become an issue, where they talk about due process, when you have millions of people that you're moving out that are really bad people, very dangerous people, and you have a judge that wants every single one of them to have a trial. So they want us to have millions of trials, therefore. That's not what it's about. That's not what our country's about. And that's not what I got elected on. And these are judges that just want to, show how big and important they are. They're local federal judges, and they shouldn't be allowed to do it. We have hundreds of thousands of people that we want to get out of the country. And the courts are holding us back. Some judge that nobody ever heard of is holding us back.
All right. So I understand what Trump is saying. And there's a lot of kerfuffle about due process. Because yeah, it would be millions and millions of cases and such like that, which would mean that people would stay in here forever. I wonder if we can say, hey, your court case is in 2 years. Leave the country. We'll call you to come back in 2 years. I don't know, but it just seems crazy. But let me know what you think down below. I really do appreciate y'all rocking with me. Thank you so much for your support and helping us hit our goal of 50,000 subscribers. We're going to get there, and we're looking forward to celebrating with you all. So until then, grace and peace.